What you're about to watch is one of those exchanges where the tone may sound sharp, but the substance underneath is even more important. Because this isn't really about a single comment or a single moment. It's about credibility, accountability, and whether the person who could become the nation's top law enforcement officer is grounded in facts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I begin, I just want to remind us all for the record that the 34 convictions, not indictments, convictions of former President, incoming President Trump were by a jury of his peers. Thank you, Ms. Bondi, for being here today, and I too would like to welcome your family and friends who are here.
Thank you.
Appreciated the opportunity to meet yesterday to learn about your priorities and discuss a number of issues that are important to me. But I got to tell you, as I reflected on our conversation yesterday and as I've observed the hearing today, I continue to have significant reservations on your ability to function as a truly independent Attorney General for your friend. That's how you keep referring to him, your friend, President-elect Trump. So I hope you can address some of these concerns through your responses to my questions here. Now, the first issue area is something that we didn't get a chance to touch on yesterday. So I actually want to follow up on some of Senator Durbin's questions from earlier about the 2020 election. And to be specific, on the day after the 2020 presidential general election, you traveled to Philadelphia to appear alongside President Trump's then attorney, Rudy Giuliani. And together, you falsely asserted that President Trump had, quote, won Pennsylvania in that election. Now, I want to be clear, at that moment, there were still at least 1 million ballots left to be counted in Pennsylvania. Of course, President Biden went on to win the state by more than 80,000 votes. But in the following days, even after the results were clear, you continued to double down on the big lie, promoting falsehoods about election fraud and cheating without offering any actual evidence. And I remember it clearly because I served as California Secretary of State at the time, and I invited anybody associated with the Trump campaign who was making these claims to come forward with evidence of irregularities in the election or massive voter fraud. 4 years later, I still have seen none. So I ask you today, do you have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So, First Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First Senator.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
First Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I appreciate that. My clock is ticking, and I want to hear
all of our
your answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question.
I was
Do you
hoping
have evidence,
someone
yes or
would.
no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have evidence,
I
yes
traveled,
or no?
Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay, you're not answering my question. If you have no evidence to offer, let me ask you this. Will you now retract your previous statements that Trump won Pennsylvania in the 2020 election, yes or no?
Oh, Senator, I traveled to Pennsylvania, and let me tell you what I saw firsthand.
Yes or no?
I didn't talk about California because I was not in California. I talked about...
Yes or no? Last time I'm going to ask.
I talked about Pennsylvania because I was there.
I'm going to move on because you're clearly not answering my questions. And I want to know, colleagues, for everybody, members of the committee and everybody watching, that the attorney who stood beside Mr. Giuliani was making very similar statements. And he has since been disbarred from multiple jurisdictions for making these false claims about the 2020 election in court. And like Mr. Giuliani, as you've noted today, you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution just as an attorney. And now you're asking us to consider you to serve as a chief law enforcement officer in our country. So it's imperative, Ms. Bondi, that you subscribe to facts and evidence and not politically convenient conspiracy theories. Your job will be, your job will be to protect voters and election workers, not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the 2020 election. Let me move on to a different topic.
Senator, you were speaking. May I speak? You cut me off when I was speaking. When I ask you the next question, you can speak,
and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi.
Well, I'd like to answer the previous one, Senator.
When we met yesterday,
you pointed your finger at me and said you were speaking.
You did not seem to be familiar
let me answer my question. I'm not going to be bullied by you, Senator
the 14th Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you didn't want to hear my answer about Pennsylvania.
After I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed as Attorney General...
You're the one asking for a confirmation vote,
Hey, you cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for today.
So on the 14th Amendment, now you've testified repeatedly to this committee that you will uphold the laws of this country and defend the Constitution of the United States. Do you believe birthright citizenship is the law of the land, and will you defend it regardless of a child born in the United States, regardless of their parents' immigration status?
Senator, I will study birthright citizenship. I would love to meet with you regarding birthright citizenship. Can I answer the
serve as the
question?
Attorney General of the United States, and you still need to study the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? That is not helping me have more confidence in your ability to do this job. What other immigration-related question? I'll steer clear of the Constitution
I have one
and the
regarding
law.
that I'd like to
Senator
talk about.
Hirona asked you earlier, but I don't think you answered her question. Can you please tell us, do you agree with the statement that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, yes or no?
I did not say that.
I did not say that. You said that. I'm asking if you agree with it, yes or no.
I did not say that.
Do you agree with it, yes or
Senator,
no?
my great-grandparents are immigrants.
Do you agree with it,
They
yes or no?
came here from Sicily
Do you agree
through
with it,
Ellis
yes or
Island
no?
when they were teenagers.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, let me answer the question.
Yes or no? It's
My
real simple.
great-grandparents came here, immigrated to this country from Sicily, recently went and found each of their birth certificates. We are a nation made up of immigrants. Do I believe immigrants are poisoning our country? No, Senator.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I can't wait for the second round.
Same, Senator. Thank you. No, sir. Thank you.
In this hearing, Alex Padilla methodically walks through a timeline that a lot of Americans remember, but don't always hear broken down this clearly. He brings up 2020, not as a political talking point, but as a test of something fundamental: whether someone who may lead the Department of Justice is willing to acknowledge reality when it matters most. He reminds the room that Joe Biden won Pennsylvania after all the votes were counted, and that claims to the contrary were repeatedly made without evidence. Then he asks what should be a straightforward question: is there any evidence of widespread fraud? And this is where the exchange becomes revealing. Instead of a direct yes or no, Pam Bondi pivots, talking about her experiences, shifting context, and never quite landing on a clear answer. From a Democratic perspective, that hesitation isn't just about one question. It raises concerns about whether facts take priority over political narratives. Padilla doesn't let it go. He presses again, because in a role like Attorney General, you don't get to operate in gray areas when it comes to evidence. Either something is supported by facts, or it isn't. And when that clarity doesn't come, it leaves a gap, one that undermines confidence in how decisions might be made later. Then comes the moment that grabs headlines. Bondi pushes back with, "I'm not here to do your homework." It's a line that sounds dismissive, but it also reveals something deeper about how oversight is being treated. Because in reality, what Padilla is asking isn't homework, it's the job. These hearings exist so that nominees can demonstrate their knowledge, their judgment, and their readiness to take on immense responsibility. Padilla then shifts to the 14th Amendment, specifically the Citizenship Clause. This isn't a random question. It's one of the most important constitutional provisions in modern debates over immigration and civil rights. When Bondi suggests she still needs to study it, that becomes another point of concern. Not because anyone expects perfection, but because this is foundational knowledge for the position she's seeking. And the conversation continues to build from there, moving into whether she would defend birthright citizenship as the law of the land, and whether she agrees with rhetoric that paints immigrants in dehumanizing terms. These aren't abstract policy questions. They go directly to how laws are enforced, who is protected, and whether justice is applied equally. To her credit, Bondi eventually does clearly reject the idea that immigrants are poisoning the country. But even that moment comes after repeated attempts to get a direct answer, reinforcing a pattern that runs through the entire exchange. What makes this hearing significant isn't just the back and forth, it's what it reveals about how difficult it can be to get clear, on-the-record answers to straightforward questions. And in a democracy, that clarity matters. The Attorney General isn't just another political figure. They are supposed to be the guardian of the rule of law, someone who follows evidence wherever it leads, regardless of politics. So as you watch this, don't just focus on the tension or the sound bites. Pay attention to the structure of the questions and the responses. Notice when answers are direct and when they aren't. Ask yourself whether this exchange builds confidence in impartial leadership or raises more questions than it answers. Because ultimately, this isn't about one hearing or one nominee. It's about whether the institutions that are supposed to protect democracy are led by people who are willing to engage honestly, speak clearly, and stand firmly on facts, even when it's uncomfortable. If you want more breakdowns like this that go beyond the headlines and help you actually understand what's at stake, stay engaged, subscribe, and keep asking questions.